Well, the Miami Dolphins search for a general manager was fast and it was efficient. We began this process on Monday, asking for not to speak to 9 individuals who all were part of successful organizations. Here we are on Friday, the end of the week, and the Dolphins have made a hire. I am Omar Kelly, Miami Herald columnist. Joining me is Isaiah Smalls, Miami Herald beat writer. Isaiah, Jon-Eric Sullivan, who does not go by Jon-Eric. He calls himself, or he is called Sully, or J.E. by most people who actually know him, has been named the Dolphins general manager. He will replace Chris Grier, who was fired on Halloween. He will search for a new head coach to replace Mike McDaniel, who was fired on Thursday. And he will be responsible for building a new culture and a new foundation of this Dolphins franchise. How do you feel about the hire?
I'm actually a big fan of it, to be honest. Look, I've been doing my research on him, and the thing that to me stands out the most is that he has a scouting background, something that the Dolphins obviously prioritize in this search. But throughout his scouting, journey, right? He's been with the Packers for 22 years, I believe. He has been given more, right? If that makes sense. Like there's been more put on his plate than just the normal player personnel duties, right? And that's something that really stood out to me. From an evaluation standpoint, Albert Breer and others have called him a great evaluator. He was the one who found famously Jordan Love. But then outside of that, I just really like his philosophy. I'm going to read you something that he said. I've always been taught that the draft is your lifeblood, if you will. You build through the draft. It's a young man's game. You want to make sure that you're acquiring young, talented players that fit your culture. I think you supplement the draft through free agency. And that to me is a very important philosophy, especially considering how the last 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5 years have worked in Dolphins land. It's been, I feel like, the complete opposite. It's been a lot of free agency and supplemented by the draft, right? And to me,
you know how that came about. And let me put a pin in that for you.
Go ahead.
Do you know that I've heard Chris Grier and just about every executive before him say the exact same thing? And especially now, considering how expensive free agents are, you have to build through the draft. But you know what happens when you don't successfully draft? You got to patch your roster.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree with you.
And you could try every year, but if you're hitting at a 33, 34% rate, success rate, while the regular franchises are hitting at 45 and the good franchises are hitting at 52, 55, in terms of success rate of who you draft, you're going to have to supplement your roster. So,
and to that end, I just want to quick quiz real quick. Since 2022, how many people that you think the Dolphins have drafted that are like viable guys? Like, okay, this is like not. I would say star.
2022
stars since 2022. Like just off the top of your head, do you think just who do you
want a star or
I want solid starter and above.
Solid starter and above.
Since 2022. You're looking now. I want you off the top of your head. Off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head?
Yeah.
My answer would be 2. No, hold on.
Right. Yes. No. I think you're right. Who are those 2 people?
Yeah. Patrick Paul and Devon Achane.
Yes. And so that's immediately what came to mind when I was writing about Jon Sullivan. And after I read that quote, right, that since 2022, and I have the list up right here. This is the 2022 draft came. We walked away with 4 players: Skylar Thompson in the 7th, Cameron Good in the 7th, Eric Uzakam in the 4th, Channing Tindall in the 3rd. Let's move to 2023. Cam Smith in the 2nd, Devon Achane in the 3rd, Elijah Higgins in the 6th, Ryan Hayes in the 7th. 2024, Chop Robinson in the 4th. In the 1st, Patrick Paul in the 2nd, Jalen Wright in the 4th, Muhammad Kamara in the 5th, Malik Washington, Patrick McMorris in the 6th, Taj Washington in the 7th. Most recent draft, Kenneth Grant in the 1st, Jonas Savali-9 in the 2nd, Jordan Phillips in the 5th, Jason Marshall Jr. in the 5th, Dante Trader Jr. in the 5th, Ollie Gordon the 2nd in the 6th, Quinn Ewers, and Zeke Biggins in the 7th. So I say all that to say, right, not like I just read you out that list. There's 2 names, for real, that are like, but that hits on what you're talking about. Like, lack of success in the draft forces you to try to grab other guys, and sometimes it works, right? Sometimes you get a Rasul Douglas who plays way above the number that he's being paid, but more often than not, you get guys like you did last year, where it's Jordan Poyer, right? And you were still thinking it's, Jordan Poyer still has some stuff left in the tank, and unfortunately find out that he doesn't, right? So I saw that to say I'm looking forward to seeing what Sully or JE's approach is. It was interesting you said that because of the Unsung video I was watching, which for all Dolphins fans, Jon-Eric Sullivan did an interview with the Packers in a series called Unsung, where they're just talking about some of the guys in the scouting department and various other areas that work behind the scenes. But it's very good, about 18 minutes if you guys got the time. But
said that to you last night.
You did send that to me last night.
You were supposed to do some homework at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, crazy work. But I did. What's funny enough, this morning, like I woke up, and before the news even dropped, like I watched that video. I just read up a little bit on Chad Alexander, because to me, just after sleeping on it, those were the 2 guys that I think, had the best shot at it. So I'm excited to see what Jon-Eric Sullivan can do, what he can bring. Hopefully, we'll get some good information from him soon. Obviously, the Dolphins haven't officially announced it, but Schefter's word is kind of bond, and especially when you get the Shefty, Pelissero, Rappaport, that trio. Once you get that link up, it's like it might as well be gold. So, looking forward to this new opportunity.
Here's the thing. One, I don't like the years that you selected from 2022. I know that's probably where the Mike McDaniel era began. Mm-hmm. But that's a very specific timeline. Yes, they busted a lot during that timeline, but you ain't crediting Chris Greer for 2016. You're not crediting him for 2020. 2019 had a solid draft. 2019 had a solid draft. 2021, but that's not what we're discussing. Okay.
Wait. Okay, Christian Wilkins, Van Ginkel. All right, like Christian that's Wilkins, cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
smooth.
You got 2 dogs.
But then that 2020 draft.
Myles Gaskin has had a nice little run in the NFL. Michael Dieter he just got cut, but he continues to play in the league.
Didn't you call him, Michael Dieter, one of the worst rookie guard prospects?
Yes, he was a okay. Hold on, wait. He was a series. There's a difference between a guy who isn't starter material and a guy who will go on and play 8 years. Okay. If you have longer than a 3-year career in the NFL, you are a success story, because that league spits you out in 3.5 years. So you have a 4-year career, no matter how you got in the league, you're a success. Michael Dieter has played, what is he on, his 6th season? Like, say what you want, but he's still an NFL player, whereas I can't say the same thing about Isaiah Prince, who was in that draft, or Chandler Cox, who was in that draft. Now, to your point, what's so funny? What's so funny?
I was just looking at. I'm like looking at these guys that I haven't even. Just keep going. I'm just like looking at these names and just looking them up. I'm like, good God.
Yeah. Isaiah, a lot of bad names. A lot of bad names. But we know that wasn't a strength of the past organization. However, you brought up 2021, and I will make the point to you that I'm looking at the Green Bay Packers draft from 2021 to 2025. And I don't necessarily see a lot of home runs over here. I'm not calling it out. I'm not throwing shade. I'm not criticizing the job that they've done. But I'm sorry. We're talking about Matthew Golden in the first round. That wasn't exactly a home run. We're talking about Jordan Morgan in the first round. That wasn't necessarily a home run. We're talking about Luke Van Ness in the first round. That's not necessarily a home run. It's solid, but that wasn't necessarily on his resume. because that when you're not the top executive, I'm not going to credit you or hold you responsible for who was drafted. What I will say about Mr. Sully is that he comes from a very storied organization, a good franchise that they do things the hard way. They do things the right way. They are family oriented. He has been with the organization since 2004 and has never left. One in my column that I just wrote for the Miami Herald, I have people who know him, people who know about him, talking about him, and he's described as a grinder, solid evaluator, not one of the frat boys. And I know exactly what that term means. Which
I was about to say, yeah. Explain that a little bit.
It means he's not one of the chosen ones. He's not one of the connected. Whereas a lot of the candidates that were on that list of the 9 candidates that the Dolphins interviewed, a couple of them were the 9.
Wait,
9 GM candidates.
Who were the? Okay, you have the 3 from the Niners. You had Chad Alexander, Jon-Eric Sullivan, McKay,
Champ
Kelly. That's 7.
Alec Hallerby.
Oh, yeah, Hallerby. That's 8.
See, look at you forgetting John McKay.
I said McKay already.
Okay. There were 4 there, and the Chargers 3 and the Chargers dude.
That's
Alexander,
already.
R.J. Gillen, Tariq Ahmad, Josh Williams, Sullivan, McKay, Hallerby.
That's 8.
And Champ Kelly. You kind of Champ Kelly?
Yeah, that's 8.
All right.
Keep going.
Okay, all right, whatever.
You go ahead.
What was I saying? If frat boys means the connected, the guys who come prepackaged with a head coach and a GM because they're part of an agency. There are certain NFL teams that are run by agency, whether they're CAA, whether they're Octagon, whether they're I can't remember some of the other agencies, and these agencies control coaches. These agencies control GMs. These agencies control quarterbacks, and they work as a package deal. You want this quarterback, you got to take this GM and this coach. Blah, 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 blah. It's, this is how the matrix works. He is not part of that program. And he is part of the grinder program, the Green Bay program, where they have had a ton of success when you look at the people who are on the Ron Wolf coaching tree. Ron Wolf is a legendary Green Bay Packers general manager, won 3 championships, and arguably has just as good of an executive tree as people like Bill Parcells has as a coaching tree. In fact, Bill Parcells and him used to be peers, used to hang, used to talk, used to, they were buds back when Bill Parcells was over here running things. People on the Elliott on the Ron Wolf tree is Elliott, his son, who now runs the New England Patriots. You got Ted Thompson, late, who's deceased. He ran the Green Bay Packers. You got Reggie McKenzie, who used to run the Raiders, used to be here as a Dolphins executive. I believe he's in Tennessee. You got Alonzo Highsmith, who used to be in the front offices with the Packers, with the Browns. Now he's in the front office with the Patriots. You got John Snyder, one of the top executives in the league with the Seattle Seahawks. Brian, I can't say his name, the Packers GM, Kinski.
Oh, yeah.
The Packers GM, who basically has been Sullivan's mentor. They have all had success. They've all built solid franchises, great evaluators, scouters, and more than not, they come. If you come from the Ron Wolf tree, you believe in drafting a quarterback consistently every year, if not every other year. That's what those organizations have done. That's how you go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. And there were a number of quarterbacks drafted in between all of that too, by the way. the Matt Flynn's of the world. There was a quarterback from Louisville that busted in Green Bay. But that's not the point. Also, there's a certain quarterback named Malik Willis who happens
that was my next question for you. Keep going.
Who happens to be a free agent, an impending free agent. When Willis has come in for Jordan Love, who basically didn't finish the season because of a concussion. He's going to be playing in the playoffs, but Malik Willis has played pretty well. Initially drafted by the Tennessee Titans, Green Bay Packers traded for him. He's completed 67.7% of his passes throughout his career, throwing for 1,322 yards with 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's also gained 405 yards and scored 4 touchdowns on 74 carries. He has a 98.9 passer rating. Very limited action, but 98.9 passer rating. The question I have for you, Isaiah, is does the hiring of Sullivan make you think that Malik Willis is the next in line to be the Dolphins quarterback?
I think it's a possibility, right? For someone that has talked about building through the draft, right? I kind of can't see the Dolphins not selecting a quarterback, at least, maybe not initially, in the earlier rounds, but at least later on. Now, that said, Willis has looked solid in limited action this year, so why not give him a chance, right? I think there's going to be a few quarterbacks, in this draft, or not draft, I'm sorry, in this free agency class that deserve, some attention. So
free agent,
a few
free
agency. I mean, Malik Willis is one. Hold on. There was a list that was sent to me. Give me a second.
Oh, who sent you the list, Playboy?
I'm not sure about that, but I can read this out to you. Hold on. Matt Jones is another one. Matt Jones is another one. Matt Jones. I mean, he's Matt.
Okay, Matt Jones. Yeah.
Wait, were you doing the Mike Jones thing?
Who? No, I wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. That was a good one. Yeah, I think those are the two big ones. I mean, like Kirk Cousins, I don't want Geno Smith. I don't want him. Jacoby Brissett, I don't really want him. I mean, Kyler Murray isn't necessarily a free agent, but there might be some swap situation. I don't know. Look,
neither is Tua Tagovailoa. He's not a free agent either.
Yeah, but I can't. I mean, I don't
have on these streets being sold.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. I think
Baker Mayfield, by the way. Baker Mayfield's being sold too.
That's because I think Baker fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
But he did not look good. He literally threw a pick went to a quarterback who tripped during the coverage. So I can't. No, it doesn't. It shouldn't. It should not. It should not.
I watched some quarterback in the playoffs throw a pass to himself. No, I think Quinn Ewers threw a pass to himself.
Was that intentional? Don't sound like that was intentional.
I do believe Quinn Ewers threw a pass to himself.
It sounds like something that was batted down.
Yeah. Yes, he caught one pass for -6 yards. Anyway, we don't know what this means in terms of quarterbacks. We've got to listen to Sully. I feel real irresponsible calling him Sully because I don't know the man like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him Jon-Eric for the time being.
Yeah, he doesn't like people calling him Jon-Eric though.
But in the John that I watched, the unsung thing, that's what they called him. He called him Jon-Eric, and they, for all intents and purposes, work together. I mean,
no, they don't know each other. He basically said, "Yeah, if you call me Jon-Eric, you don't know me." Nobody calls me Jon-Eric. Anyway, besides that, let's move on. What does this mean in your mind in regards to the Miami Dolphins' interest or no interest in John Harbaugh?
I think it kind of complicates it a little bit. If I had to take a guess, considering Alexander's connection, Chad Alexander, that is his connection to the Harbaugh family, I'd have to believe that it kind of complicates that. Because to me, in my world, in my estimation, right, those two seem to be kind of the package deal, right? I don't know if I'm not breaking news or anything, but for all intents and purposes,
you connecting dots. We can do that.
I'm connecting dots. I'm just trying to connect some dots, right? Like, obviously, Chad Alexander works with Jim Harbaugh out in LA. previously he worked with John out in Baltimore. So it would seem that they would be like, okay, the Packers do kind of
They
that.
might have each other's number. They might be able to text one another.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. I
And
might be able
so
to present him as my game plan. But now,
exactly.
if I can't deliver on that game plan,
it has me looking elsewhere, right? And if that's the case, I'm looking elsewhere. To me, I want the best available candidate, which I believe, just looking at comparing resumes, Jon-Eric, had to be up there. So I don't, not to say that there's no chance that they will get Harbaugh now. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I feel like now you kind of have to look at people that have been around Mr. Sullivan, right? So you got to think about the Jeff Halfleys, right? The guys obviously he's coaching a playoff game this weekend, but if they lose and the Packers decide to make changes, Matt LaFleur, right? He was very instrumental in that coaching search, right? When that happened. So to me, I don't think you can 110% rule out Harbaugh, but I think the hiring of Mr. Sullivan certainly takes a hit, unfortunately, at your chances for Mr. Harbaugh. So that's the way I feel about it. Do you feel the same? How do you feel?
See, there are back channel conversations that are had by consultant and others. And generally, if you're a general manager or candidate, you come in with some names and some connections. And same thing with a head coach. You come in with a staff ready to go. We snapping our finger and we good to go. This is my staff. We ready to roll once we get hired. I am of the belief, and I don't know Mr. Alexander, have never spoken to Mr. Alexander, and really haven't done a great due diligence in terms of research on Mr. Alexander. But the fact that he entered the equation late let me believe that, you want an entry point with me, you got to go holler at my dog over here. And now I might hire your dog if he could deliver the big dog. Mm-hmm. Now, with John Harbaugh, and I've said this from the very beginning, and trying to put it to people where they can receive it. Remember when you were in high school and that prettiest girl in school, everybody could shoot their shot, but ultimately, she's going to pick who she wants to be with. Of course, she's going to be like, you holla at me. Yeah, or she's just really just gonna bat an eye. We're talking about the prettiest girl in school.
Oh, of course, of course.
Not like every other, as you call them. What is it, Jones or what?
Jones, John. Let's not
describe that to the public, because
John. That's Philly slang. A John can mean anything, person, place, or thing. It can. You can be hand me that John right there if you're asking for the remote. Look at them Johns over there if you're talking about beautiful women. Place like you trying to go to the John, if you're trying to go to like Wawa or something like that. So it's a person, place, or thing. It can be. Now I will say this: the thing that has been brought to my attention, actually rather recently, is that John doesn't really mean man though, which is interesting. Like you can't women usually. I mean, not that I've heard women say this, but I don't think women are like, yo, look at them Johns over there, and they referring to dudes. So I've now entered into as it's 2026. I'm trying to grow as a person. I'm turning 30 this year. Just growth. But I'm like, dang,
you turning 30?
Yeah, I turned 30 this year, yo.
Damn, you getting up there. Look at you. You're not no young whippersnapper no more.
Not anymore, man.
You're 30 now, but
look,
you still got 10 good years. You live it up.
But yeah, suffice to say, I don't know, I'm having an interesting relationship with that word. But I know exactly what you're saying about the prettiest girl in school, all that stuff. So you're calling Harbaugh the prettiest girl at the dance?
Absolutely. He's going to pick who he wants.
Did you see to that end, did you see the clip of Jackson Dart and what they're hypothesizing off of it?
Yeah. I don't believe Jackson Dart and players are in the know, especially a Jackson Dart where I got you under contract for 5 years, bro. Yeah. You're not even in the equation. I'm not even having a conversation with you. And that's cool. That's cool. I mean, everybody has their theories about what's going to happen. My theory is Harbaugh isn't even going to consider the Dolphins, and the Dolphins seemingly have not expressed interest.
Yeah, break that down for people because I've seen that several times being reported.
Dolphins have been consistently used over the years by multiple people in multiple ways. They generally don't mind that because usually being used gets them a seat at the table where they can at least have the conversation with you. However, when it comes to the Harbaughs, Steve Ross is very sensitive about those conversations and being used by the Harbaugh family because he was used by Jim to get big money from San Francisco. He helped Michigan land Jim when Michigan was in the works. When Jim was coming back to the NFL because the NCAA was really running him out of there. And that's the truth. Jim talked to two teams in the NFL. He talked to the Raiders and he talked to Minnesota. Mike McDaniel had not been hired. Yes, the Dolphins were privately.
The Raiders in Minnesota.
Yes.
In addition to the Chargers.
No, Chargers were the next year.
Okay. All right, keep going.
He talked to the Raiders in Minnesota, decided to stay at Michigan. Dolphins had an opening. Dolphins had a hiring. Steve Ross flat out came out and said, if Harbaugh leaves for the NFL, it won't be for the Miami Dolphins. I am not pursuing him when he had an open job. So, oh yeah. And that's how we ended up.
And is that just out of love for Michigan? Like he doesn't want to take Michigan's head coach away? Or because I care about Ohio State as much as the next guy, right? But like, I don't know. Like if I have an opportunity to improve my day-to-day life by getting, what I'm saying, someone from Ohio State and hiring them within my organization, like I feel like that's a no-brainer, especially if you think the guy can actually make improvements.
I've never really gotten an answer to that. And primary reason, I think he does love Michigan. That was allegedly to some people his number one franchise. I don't think that it still is anymore. No, I don't think it is.
The number one. I mean, you got a business
I've never really bought into that. I've honestly never really bought into that. Michigan, he loves Michigan, is a big time booster of Michigan. I don't know if he's the biggest anymore, but he's not. I haven't heard Michigan stuff, infatuation from him in a little minute. But I think personally, just my theory, he doesn't like being used by the Harbaughs. And I think I think we were going to go this whole process, just a theory, without reaching out to John Harbaugh, because we already know John Harbaugh is not really interested in this job. And we know from back channels, or we know from private conversations, or we know from consulting conversations, or we know from hypothetical conversations. I don't know. Or maybe we have our sights set on somebody else that's out there that's going to be available after these playoff rounds are played. We shall see. I'm not sure. The one thing that I do like is that they are doing this the right way, which is doing it all together. GM, head coach, quarterback. Now, how this plays out, I don't know. I can't guarantee it's going to be a success. I can't guarantee you Mr. Sullivan can draft players better than Chris Greer cannot, because I don't know his body of work. I don't know what kind of staff he's going to assemble. I don't know who he could hire as the next head coach. Will that person be better than Mike McDaniel? I don't know these things, but we got plenty of time to evaluate and dissect them. And we will be doing that on Dolphins in Depth. Hopefully we have a press conference soon from Mr. Jon-Eric Sullivan, J.E. or Sully, however you would like to refer to him. And we will be back when we do have that insight. I'm sure he's going to say the same thing everybody said for the last 20 years. We will see how he actually follows through with it. On that note, Dolphins in Depth, we appreciate you for coming. We appreciate you for talking. Enjoy your new general manager. Don't stress about Harbaugh, and keep it pushing, baby, because Dolphins are going to do what they do.